And that's why I don't have that muscle in my brain. What's going on, everybody? This is the Coverbandconfidential podcast. The podcast are cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more Essex Glass in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
We've reached critical mass on this whole sabbatical thing. I have done so many projects. I'm in the middle of one right now. Had to break from this to stop building IKEA furniture to do the show.
Yeah.
But I will be returning to that immediately following. How about you? What's your long weekend been looking like?
You know, it's just prepping for this trip I'm going on tomorrow, and
Same.
A lot to get organized. I'm gonna have to bring a whole big checking suitcase rather than a carry-on this time because I got 2 big stops with totally different clothes, and it's it's gonna be a pain. But
fun. I'm pretty much down to just what am I wearing for the NAMM trip. Luckily, I've got all of the merch. So t-shirts, don't worry about it, guys. I got it. I've got the guitar company name one. I've got my I'd rather be listening to Satisfied by Richard Marx. I've got shout out to Mike Squires. I got the I'm famous enough to be on Couch Riffs shirt. That's literally NAMM is the only place where that shirt has any sort of cachet to it. So I've got to bring it.
That's good. Your
hope is that somebody else is wearing the shirt too, and then you guys have something to talk about.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. And let's see, got all my gear lined up. I did post a video at the end of last week on top of a bunch of other videos about what I'm bringing as far as gear goes. I know that most folks aren't into the content part of it, but it is part and parcel with the stuff that we do. So for anybody who is into that, you can check out the YouTube channel for my fully phone-based setup for NAMM. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I've done a fair amount of testing so that, it's about as idiot-proof as it can be. And I've got my Uber set for 5 a.m. Wednesday morning to fly out to L.A., and we're hitting the ground running. Looking forward to all running into folks. I've already got a confirmation about meeting up with Dave Hamilton from Gig Gab and a bunch of other creators. At this point, I still can't announce the giveaway, which I think is kind of ridiculous, but I don't think it's been posted yet. But just know that guitar players, if you're looking for a giveaway, there is a giveaway for the NAMM house at Sweetwater, and it is a guitar, and that's about all I can say until it's a fish. We'll get into a little bit of the NAMM gear stuff in just a minute. It's not the full thrust of the episode because God knows there'll be plenty to talk about on next week's episode and whatever else I put out over the coming weeks from going out that way. So it won't be too much of that. There's actually a practical thing that we were talking about. We kind of touched on it a couple episodes ago, but we decided to circle back and really dig into it full force. On that note, let's go ahead and go to reviews. I told you I've been going through this whole international wing of reviews and stuff. I found another one, this one from Germany.
Sweet.
This one says, thank you from Germany. That's how I knew. And it's Diet Seb. I think that's how you would pronounce that. Like
Dietzeb? D-I-E, I think is...
Could be.
I don't know.
Or it could be a guy named Sebastian, and he goes by Seb, and so that's Diet Seb because it's...
Diet Seb?
Yeah.
Could be.
Lower calorie.
Possible.
Just as filling.
Yeah.
But you're probably right. And I'm sure we'll hear from our friend. It says, we are listening to all of your episodes and having a blast. You are awesome. Greetings, the Girl Pop Dads. So we should go check those guys out if you're ever out in Deutschland looking for a good time. And that's pretty much it. No other housekeeping items. All of this, everything is ahead of us, really. There's nothing behind us, only what's ahead. So we'll go ahead and just jump right in. So you know what? I don't think we need to talk about NAMM.
We're going to talk enough about it later.
Yeah, I'll say one thing. If you go on like Sweetwater or musicradar.com, there are confirmed drops. I'm going to give the most tone-deaf drop of NAMM so far to Gibson for deciding that the world needed a $20,000 Keith Richards signature ES335.
Yeah.
I mean, finally, a guitar that no one asked for at a price that no one...
Okay, but they'll sell some.
I'm sure they'll sell out of, the 20 they have. And, it's the same blues lawyers and rock dentists will be, gigging them out. And you know what? We should be happy for them because those are the kinds of guys who are listening to the show. So if you're a blues lawyer or a rock dentist, thank you for your service. If you could distribute Xanax before procedures, I think that would be super helpful. because I've got mad dental anxiety after having a panic attack the last time I got a filling done. So neither here nor there, but if you're a dentist, hit me up, I guess.
Yeah.
Or don't. I don't care.
Or don't. Probably not.
So yeah, don't worry about gear. The gear will take care of itself over the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Now, this is just some good old practical advice. And once again, the kind of advice that we are talking about, but also should be taking.
Yeah.
Because we're not always the best at that. But this week, we had gotten some requests about digging into what tech rehearsals are. And there was a couple of comments on last week's episode on YouTube about maybe digging into that. And so we put our heads together and came up with 5 essential strategies to make sure that your tech rehearsal is one that actually pays off and is not just your standard run-of-the-mill practice or, quagmire, however your rehearsal typically goes.
Yeah, and some of these things, are true about rehearsal generally, but I think the first question is, who's having tech rehearsals out there? Who's having specified time to deal with setup, tear down, connectivity, process, transitions, the sort of nitty gritty bits of the stuff. And I assert that you're having that less frequently than you should.
Yeah, because if your gigs are tech rehearsals, then that's what most people are doing. Is that we are typically we're adding components piece by piece, and basically road testing them without much preliminary work ahead of time. I know for me, I have literally taken something out of the box and put it in the car for load in,
Yep.
So
yep.
Not always the best plan. You're typically not going to get the best results out of that. So having time dedicated to do these kinds of things is important. It's going to make everything go smoother.
It also, by the way, democratizes setup and teardown. You can train the team on how everything connects together, and then you're not the only one doing it.
Right. And then, ultimately, that's what this is. This is a way for you to be able to implement new components, maybe work on certain things that maybe you don't have adequate time to dig into. I know that for some folks, we're basically loading the same show out of the digital mixer every time. And the in-ears are close enough, and I don't have margin to mess with this too much. So, we'll just kind of make do. We had an issue for a long time where Amber's mic was simultaneously overloading, but not a hot enough signal. And so at one point I had to fully reset her entire signal chain from the source all the way back to the, from the wireless mic to the mixer. That would have been a great thing to cover at a tech rehearsal, as opposed to just trudging along gig after gig and finally being like, screw this. I will throw, caution into the wind and just reset this, with an hour before downbeat.
Definitely had technical things that when they crop up again at the next gig and then the next gig and then the next gig, I slap my head and I'm like, I should have done that every time. And then somehow between gigs, I'd never handle it.
Yeah.
That's not great. Don't be like me.
Ultimately, we're looking at building a couple of things. We're looking at building confidence, clarity, and reliability in your setup. I know some bands are literally just going and they're setting up the PA and then tearing it down and setting it up and tearing it down. And it's like a pit stop kind of deal where you're just trying to make sure everybody knows their whatever piece they're in charge of and can, administer it quickly. There's way more to it than that. You could have strictly audio practices. You could have strictly production practices. You could have strictly, there's never a wrong way to do a rehearsal, but there are some things that you can implement to make the time that you do spend on this stuff more worth your while. All right. So first and foremost, come prepared with a plan and communicate it.
It's a good idea.
It's not just enough for you to be like, okay, I know what we're going to do. Go ahead and just throw it out there. Put it into the group chat, send it out in an email, put it in writing in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And understand how far are you going to tear down to a bare room? Are you going to build the whole rig? Are you going to start assuming that? And we're going to work on cues and tracks and transitions, because that's all part of it too. So this is an opportunity not just to be transparent, but also to declare some focus.
Right, because like we said, this kind of rehearsal could be a number of different things. It could be dialing in guitar tones or synth tones. It could be adjusting levels on backing tracks. It could be just lighting. It could be just audio. So go ahead and throw that out there. Like, I would like to accomplish this, 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 and this. It could also be tied in with the music, and there's performance components to it also. Maybe you're implementing a keytar for the first time, hypothetically, or some other component of the show that requires you to not only know where it's happening, but like take some time to make sure that when it happens during the show, you look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you opt to do the laser guitar stunt thing with the pyro, you probably need to do that once or twice before you pull it out on stage. Just saying.
It'd be smart.
If you can, go ahead and put like a written schedule. Like, I don't know if you can do it like hour by hour, but maybe you do. Maybe say we spend the first hour working on setup and teardown. Second hour, we run through these particular songs because of some sort of complexity or something that like ties into some other part of your production. And then maybe the last one is, splitting things up or doing we'll talk about that last part as we kind of work our way down the list.
Yep.
If you're doing a song, go ahead and know what songs you're going to be working through, what parts need attention, what particular things need to be tested. If it's a new song, you're wanting to make sure that the cues are right on the click side, and that that one signature percussion part is in there, that kind of stuff. But beyond that, it could be any other number of things.
Yeah, and the other thing about planning it out and walking in like that means you get right to work. You jump in, you do your, hey, how you doing, chit chat, and then there's no like decisions to make. You just know where you're going to start, and you're way more productive use of time that way. Yeah,
I mean, there is something to be said about the uncoiling the cables and shooting the shit, but
sure, yeah, do that,
but maybe a little less of that. Save that. You don't need practice to do that. You're really good at that already. That doesn't need its own rehearsal. You can save that one for the show.
But what planning like this saves you is that, well, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Let's not waste our time with that. We know what we want to do. Yeah. Plan it. Do it. There you go.
Perfect. Next up, set up like you will at the gig and then run through it. At our place, when we do rehearsals, it's typically just to go over music. Right. The in-ear rig is here, but like the lights aren't going up, the speakers aren't going up. We're in basically like a circle or some sort of oblong, mystery shape that doesn't have a name, just to work through new things or tighten things up, after we've been away for a while or what have you. Tech rehearsal is very much like finding a space that you can set up the sound and the lights and everything like you would, so that when you go in, everybody's got their marching orders and knows what they need to accomplish.
By the way, you want to set up like, imagine a stage, right? Most rehearsals that I've been in, everybody's circled up facing each other, like you just said. But at some point, especially I encountered this, we were a brand new band, and the first time we played not looking at each other was on stage. And we realized immediately what a big mistake we'd made.
Yeah.
You lean back on a lot of visual interaction that's not easy on stage always. So set up like you're going to do it on stage, and frontline people turn around and face the wall.
Yep.
It's weird, but do it.
Yeah. It's also a good, like, beyond tech rehearsal type stuff, this is also a good opportunity for you to try new things out as far as like your stage craft goes, like coming up with moments. We don't do choreography, but we do coordinated moments,
Sure do have some kicks in.
Yeah. Coordinated moments.
Moments. Yes. Movements.
Yes. So doing it this way allows you to kind of, one, get your reps in as far as setting things up quickly, but it could also be a point where maybe you're in the middle of the setup and you're like, I'm just standing around, or he's just standing around, or they're just standing around. What can we be doing right now? And so it's a way of determining whether there are bottlenecks. Maybe certain things are relying on one particular person. Yeah. Don't know if anybody else can relate to that.
I think any group working on related or similar things. It's the phenomenon where one guy's digging a hole and 8 guys are watching him.
Right.
You know, you want to see if you can detect when that's happening and
Yeah.
deploy those guys a little better.
Right. It's just a good way to, like I said, get your reps in, but also like be more systems oriented and focused. Most of the reason why your band leader is the one doing all of the things is because there hasn't been suitable time to offload that knowledge to somebody else. Well,
Right.
This is it.
Yep.
This is how you do that.
Jinx.
Moving
Now I
along.
have to buy you a Coke.
Yes,
No,
but
the other way around.
I don't recall. I don't know the rules. Okay. Number 3, test everything.
Everything.
It could be like we're opening up the bag of cables. Pull the cable tester out. Let's run through each one of these things, make sure that they're actually functional. If it's not, throw it away or put it in the soldering pile to get it repaired.
Yep.
And then move on to the next thing.
Like check every instrument, every vocalist.
Maybe this is a good time to reset your monitors to 0
Yeah.
and start from scratch.
If you've been, at gigs, your monitor mix has been disappointing or you detect less than idealness to it, great time to reset all of that.
Now, I don't know if this is everybody's deal, and maybe this is good advice. Maybe you're going to go, hey, yeah, no shit, dummy. But the way that I always orient my mix, because I'm primarily a singer who plays guitar, the first thing that I always do, even if I'm starting from scratch, is I put my vocal at unity in my mix. Because ultimately, I want my pack to be at the right level. And I know that my pack is at the right level when I feel like I can hear myself really well. And then everything else comes up after that. So I don't have anything redlining. I don't have anything like gained all the way up. I have everything pretty well managed, with unity gain being the highest level, and that being dedicated to the primary instrument. In my case, it's my vocals.
Yeah, that's good. And of course, you're talking about one of several final output stages.
Yep.
This is a good time to look at gain stage all the way through.
Yes.
Make sure nothing's overloading early in the signal that would then give you, you've talked about Amber's mic issue, right? I presume something was clipping way early on.
Yep.
And then you could never get any kind of signal past that.
Right.
These things need walking through.
Yep. This is it's gremlin time, as we like to call it, chase those things down.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you one thing that the folks I play with will frustrate me with in this particular moment is noodling. I'm a massive anti-noodler. I stop noodling anytime I hear it. Especially, you're set up on stage before the show and people just start to noodle, and that's super unprofessional. And it's not what we're here for right now. We're like, this is similar to that moment in sound check where the drummer starts kicking one drum at a time, and like it's important to have clean signal from each piece and not be overlapping. And so a little discipline is called for in this moment. Yeah,
and I don't know about you guys. I don't know if my band noodles, but we have bits. At least, and of course, I'm going to be the one who sets the bad example. But the one that typically comes up when like there's just dead air is I start playing the little intro riff to Blind by Korn, that nee, and then that of course prompts our drummer to start hitting the ride cymbal. Everybody hates it except for us.
Yeah.
Which is why we do it. Is it professional? No. But if you have an issue with noodlers, maybe come up with bits. Maybe that might be more productive.
Solution might be noodles and bits. Sounds like a dog food.
It does, man. We're really like
it's going super good.
This
today.
Is top tier
really,
content.
Yeah, it's tight.
No editing in this one.
No.
I'll put it out right now. Like we'll stop the recording and I'll just hit the upload button.
Love it.
Easy. Yeah, I mean the whole point here is to try and run through things and think through pinch points during your show. So before you go into these kinds of rehearsals, have everybody kind of talk through like what's a thing that you think we struggle with, or what's a blind spot we have or you have noticed that we may not have addressed before, and use those as focus points to kind of work around so that come gig time, the things that might be stress points are either one, acknowledged, dealt with, fixed ahead of time, or you've at least worked through some sort of communication with everybody else so that, when this particular challenge arises, everybody knows how to handle it.
On to number 4.
Yeah. So focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah. It's interesting. Performance is both very focused and very high input. A lot of variables happening all at once, and your ability to respond to all of them simultaneously is not great because you've got a lot going on. Your performance, your, crowd management, your thinking about the mix and wishing something was different and planning how to get your hands on the mixer to change it. And it's like a lot of that. So this is a good opportunity for you to narrow the stream of input, the stream of focus, and deal with one thing at a time.
Yeah, and it's also something, again, going back to the first one where you have everything lined up.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of one person, 2 people, maybe 3 people chasing something down at a rehearsal like this, and then everybody else just kind of standing around. And that's okay. And that's a part of the process.
Yep.
Because it doesn't always involve you. And maybe it is something that you can involve yourself in, but it's a different set of objectives. Most of the time you're trying to get through the show. But that's not what this is. This is all of the other stuff. And Dan, to your point, like my recall of things that go wrong during the gig by the end of the gig is so murky.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I don't have a great recall of the stuff to even focus on. So this gives us the time to do that. And so
definitely
first part, setting up gear and sound checking everything. This is where you'll be doing your gain staging and cable testing and all of that stuff. And then you're going to go and check your monitors and making sure that everybody's intermix or, wedges sound right. Then maybe it's transitions. Maybe you've got interstitials that you've put into your Ableton session that happen in between songs. You can use that as time to be like, okay, do I have enough time to pick my guitar up or tune my guitar or swap something out while this thing is playing so that, everything is moving forward and I'm not, pressed for time or whatever. Beyond that, if you're doing lighting or whatever, like that's the next thing that we really need to get into is, adding the MIDI cues and everything and then testing those to make sure that the hits hit what they're supposed to and all of that.
Absolutely. Drive changes on effects equipment, all kinds of stuff. There's, the
MIDI automation.
The more automated and complex your performance gets, the more urgent it is that you be doing this sort of work, right? If you've got lighting effects being triggered or God help you pyro.
Yeah.
You want to know that that's going to happen when you mean it to and not some other time.
Yeah.
It also lets me know, I drive tracks off of Band Helper and it makes sure that gives me the real walkthrough song by song, make sure I've got the right track queued up and not some wrong version of it, which I have done. So yeah, piece by piece, transition by transition, you want to walk through everything.
Yeah. And of course, the point of this is to narrow the focus and to keep, whoever might be the one who gets overwhelmed from getting overwhelmed.
Yep.
Either by adjusting the problem directly or by spreading the problem out across multiple folks to solve in tandem.
Yes.
So this last one, honestly, was the one that hit me the hardest.
Yeah.
Use the time to build confidence and not just fix problems.
Right.
Because we've definitely been in a situation where it's like, all right, well, that track wasn't loud enough. All right, well, we fixed the track part, but a part of that was I couldn't hear the cues either. And so we ended up getting caught in some kind of train wreck scenario because somebody went to the bridge too early or whatever.
Yeah.
So if it is around things like tracks or transitions or things that are musical while being technical at the same time, doing that song a couple of times and really hammering out the crinkly bits, I guess, it's going to do multiple things. One, yeah, it'll solve the problem, but it will also relieve the anxiety that you may be feeling. You're like, oh crap, the song is coming up. And I know the last time we did this happened and I don't want that to happen again. And I'm worried,
right.
I don't know how many shows that I have completely built around the stress of a single song happening or not happening or going over well or what have you.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's really easy if you're making transition or adjustments to things on the fly between gigs or at gigs, it'd be really easy to turn the volume up on that track that was too low, but then that has impacts all the way down the signal chain.
Right. Depending on where you're doing the adjustments.
Yeah. So those kinds of things, you on the fly at a gig, you can only do those in isolation, but this is your opportunity to do it integrated across the whole,
right,
technical path and the show, and and to build confidence. The one way to know a piece of the show needs this is that, oh my God, here it is moment that you have when you're white knuckling it on stage. So watch for those, bring them back in, work your way through them.
Yeah. So, use the time to get comfortable with the stage show. And if there's things that you want to tighten up, spend the time to do that. If you have any sort of scenario where like half the band goes off and there's like a down section of the show, like spend that time getting accustomed to that. So by the time you get to the gig itself, it feels well worn and there's no anxiety around what should or shouldn't happen as you get to those parts of the gig.
Yep.
And then also this one is a cool idea. Practice unexpected things happening.
Yeah.
So is it a thing where like you run the show with tracks and then you're like, okay, the tracks machine exploded.
Yeah.
Now we got to do 75 minutes. Yeah.
Go.
That kind of deal.
Yeah. So
that's another cool thing about that is that you can actually go one step further and account for things that are probable. I feel like ultimately we're always trying to prep and prepare for the, potential worst case scenario. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Here's the worst case scenario. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And do it outside of the vacuum of stress that would happen at the gig.
Yeah.
Because if you've done it before and it's something that you have, practice about it, it'll just be like, oh, well, we'll switch over to this set list. Like maybe you just have a no track, easy peasy, barn burner pickup set.
Yeah.
And just switch to that. Like having the ability to do that is invaluable for, a myriad of reasons that don't necessarily need to be covered. But ultimately, everybody benefits from going through the contingencies and making the best of them.
Imagine saying to your somebody in your band, okay, I'm not going to look, unplug something.
Yeah.
And then it's a scavenger hunt. Who can find it first?
That's fun. I kind of like that. The idea here is to teach you and your band members how to process pressure when the stakes are a bit lower, not when it's happening, live on stage in front of a bunch of people.
Exactly.
It's just like any other thing. You're conditioning yourself. You over time, the things that would normally be complete, devastating, whatever freak out moments, you can just be like, oh yeah, okay, we got a plan for that.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be nice to feel that way?
Yeah. That's the point of all of us.
Yeah. So we said 5, but let's throw a bonus one in.
Bonus one.
And this is also probably second nature for folks. But after all of this is said and done, do a debrief.
Yeah, a retro.
Maybe this is the coiling your cables, wrap up convo as you're putting things away. What still needs fixing? What weren't we able to get to? Maybe we ran out of time. We had a window, and so there's still a handful of things that need to be addressed or adjusted. What other tasks can your bandmates pick up in this process to make things happen smoother? Or maybe this was a thing that like you were doing, but your bass player's like, I think that's something I could definitely handle. And so it's like, okay,
cool.
hand that off, delegate. And also like, as you're wrapping up, like, hey, before we turn everything off and unplug, is there anything that you don't feel comfortable with or 100% on? Do we need to revisit a particular cue or song? Or is there a part of your agreed upon responsibility you need clarification on? Take that time to build that feedback loop in, because it will ultimately benefit everybody by reducing the general stress level around, this particular part of the show.
Yes.
So, in short, plan ahead, set up like a gig, test everything, focus on one thing at a time, build that confidence, and then debrief.
Get out there and rock.
Let's go. That was a good one.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of things on the horizon, some cool topics, but just like any other time, like if you have something that you want to hear us get into, let us know about it, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. We've got a couple of band coaching inquiries that have popped up. One that I'm pretty certain we're going to do as an episode, and then another one that literally came in as we were having this conversation that I'll need to chase down probably next week. I've got, other more pressing things to do, like setting up IKEA furniture.
Right. It's really important.
If you'd like to support the show, you can do that a number of ways. And those numbers of ways are helping do things like flying me out to California and making sure that we have our finger on the pulse of everything that's coming out. And we'll be talking about all of that this time next week. So in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Coverband Confidential podcast for the week of January 23rd, 2026.